Hey everybody, it's Emily, the Crazy Worm Lady. I am here with our week 4 update of the experimental bins. If you remember from last week, they still weren't quite putting a dent in those avocados. So I wanted to take a peek at them today, and I think I might add a little bit of my dry worm food mix to see if it kind of gets the worms moving and a little bit more active, so that we can move on to adding some more food next week. So without further ado, let me take you to the first bin. Okay guys, so here I am with our blended food scrap bin. This is the first of our experimental bins. So let me pull back this burlap and let's see what they're doing in here. It looks like the food is kind of moved around a little bit more than it was previously. So hopefully they're moving through it, and let's pull some of this up and take a look. Yeah, there's definitely some more worms moving right through the scraps like we would hope. That's good. And it's nice and moist, so that's good as well. Doesn't feel like it needs any water right now per se. So I'm encouraged by that. And I think I am going to add a little bit of my dry worm food mix that I have and see if that will get them working a little bit faster to finish this off. So let me grab that. Okay guys, so here is the container that I keep my dry worm food in, and I don't buy anything specifically for the dry worm food except for oyster shells, ground oyster shells, because that's good for grit, and I don't always have enough eggshells. So I have that in there along with some kelp meal that I use in my garden. There's also a little bit of coffee grounds and the cornmeal and flour, just a few other items in there, but it's primarily the oyster shell and the cornmeal. So let's pour a little bit of this into our bin and we will see what happens with that for next week. Okay, so here's the area that we were just taking a look at a few minutes ago, and I just put a little tiny bit of my dry mix here in the bottom of a protein scooper, and I'm just going to sprinkle this on top of the food area. I'm not even going to put all of it, just that much should be good. And that's probably like a teaspoon or so. So we will leave this again for a week and we will see what happens. So let's pop over to the whole food scrap bin and see how those avocados are breaking down. Okay guys, so here's the whole food scrap bin, and let's take a peek and see how the avocados are doing. Wow, there's a lot of worms even here between the layers. So let me get all this pulled back here. You can see them all climbing through the layers there. That's pretty cool. And here are our avocado shells. They're turned upside down, face down. I was hoping that that might speed up the decomposition process because the worms could get up underneath of it. So let's lift them up and see if we were right. Oh yeah, definitely. There's just a mass of worms here underneath that avocado. And this is still pretty much whole. So again, we're gonna have to just let this sit for a while and let the decomposition continue. But I'm still encouraged that there's lots of worms around it, so that's a good sign. Let's take a peek at this other piece over here. Same deal. Looks like there's a lot of worms underneath. They look nice and big and fat. Okay. Again, a lot of food not quite broken down. But you can see that worm climbing along the inside rim. So they're definitely enjoying this. I see 1 or 2 little mites, but that's fine. Mites are always going to be in your bin, at least in small numbers. So we're going to do the same thing, sprinkle a little bit of that dry food in here, and we'll leave it for 1 more week. Again, that's roughly a teaspoon again, so that's good. Need to knock some of these worms down so they don't dry out from that. And again, this bin feels plenty moist, so don't feel like I need to add any water right now. So I'm going to cover this back up, and we're going to take it out another week still, and we'll just continue to watch this, and maybe next week we'll just completely mix the bins up, kind of move some of that shredded paper down the bottom, and keep playing with it to see what we can do to speed up the process. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Like this video if you want more content from me. Feel free to subscribe, and I will check in with you guys next week. Have an excellent Thanksgiving.